Okay, so have you ever wondered how like a nickname can turn into a billion-dollar brand?
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
it's a wild thought. But that's exactly what we're diving into today, the story of René Lacoste,
Right, right.
the man who went from tennis champion to a fashion icon,
Yeah.
with a little help, of course, from a crocodile.
And what's really interesting about Lacoste is how his story like really intertwines with the whole evolution of sportswear.
Oh,
This
totally.
isn't just about a logo, it's about changing perceptions of what athleticism is, style, what we wear, all of that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's fascinating.
It really is. We're talking like way back 1920s
Okay.
when tennis was, it was a pastime for the wealthy,
Yeah.
almost an exclusive club.
Right.
So imagine René Lacoste, born into privilege,
Hmm.
but determined to make his own name on the court.
It was almost, counterintuitive in a way, right?
Mhm.
Because his father, very successful businessman,
You're right.
challenged him. He said, look, you become world champion within 5 years or tennis is off the table.
Wow.
It wasn't just about winning a few matches. It was
Yeah.
about really, defying these expectations set for him.
Talk about pressure.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it makes you wonder, did that intensity on the court lead to his nickname, the Crocodile?
You know what? I think you're onto something. It wasn't about his looks or anything. It was about his playing style.
Right.
That relentless pursuit of every single point, like a crocodile, right?
Yes.
Waiting for that perfect moment to strike. And of course, we can't forget the crocodile skin suitcase.
That's right. The suitcase, you don't hear that every day, a piece of luggage being such a crucial part of a brand's origin story.
So the story goes, the French Davis Cup captain promised Renee this like luxurious crocodile skin suitcase if they won a particular match, and they did.
Oh, wow.
They won. And so that crocodile skin, right, became this symbol of victory, of luxury, intertwined with Renee himself.
It's almost poetic,
Yeah.
how a simple event like that can solidify an image.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget, right, the friend who actually embroidered that first crocodile emblem onto Renee's blazer. That's where it all began.
Oh, for sure. That was it, the birth of a visual identity.
Yes.
And it's recognized globally now. But the crocodile, well, just one part of the story.
Right.
To really understand the cost's impact, we got to talk about the shirt.
Oh, the shirt. It's easy to forget now with, athleisure everywhere.
Yeah.
But back then, tennis attire, it was so formal.
Oh, it was very stiff, very formal.
Almost, dare I say, stifling.
Imagine playing, like really playing in the heat, wearing long sleeves, stiff collars.
Oh.
Not exactly helping you play your best.
No, not at all.
But Renee, always the innovator, he saw an opportunity there.
So is that what led him to design his own shirt? Was it just purely practical at first?
I think in a way, yes. He wanted a shirt that breathed, that allowed for freedom of movement. And that was unheard of in tennis at the time. And that's how the iconic short-sleeved peak cotton Lacoste shirt was born.
He revolutionized, like, tennis attire.
Yeah.
And I mean, without even realizing it, he laid the groundwork for what we now call athleisure. It's incredible.
It is.
What gets me is he didn't sacrifice style for functionality at all.
Yeah.
He found a way to have both.
That's exactly it. That's Lacoste's genius. He understood that clothing could be both practical and elegant. It reflected a whole changing attitude towards sportswear and just personal style in general.
So, okay, we have the man, we have the nickname, we have this revolutionary shirt.
Right.
But how does it all transition from like this single garment into, this globally recognized brand? How did La Société Chemise Lacoste, their initial company, how did they even get off the ground?
Well, it's a fascinating journey, and I think it all starts with understanding René Lacoste's next move, which was brilliant, actually. René, he really understood branding, didn't he?
He was ahead of his time.
I mean, having like a tennis legend wearing your logo on the court.
Yeah.
Talk about marketing gold, especially back then.
Right.
People saw this champion right at the top of his game wearing Lacoste, and they associated the brand with his success, his style,
Totally.
his innovation.
It's more than just the product, right? It's, like you said, an aspiration.
Exactly. Exactly. It wasn't just a shirt, it was a statement.
But then there's that whole Izod partnership thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which, from what I understand, I mean, it almost like completely overshadowed the Lacoste name for a while.
It did.
Can you unpack that for us? Like, how does a brand go from being like synonymous with, this tennis legend to being almost absorbed by another name completely.
It's really a classic case of, well, the complexities of brand partnerships
Right.
and market expansion, especially back then.
Yeah.
So Lacoste, they wanted to, break into the U.S. market,
Of course.
make
Yeah.
it big over there, but getting the licensing rights was a whole other story.
Yeah, I bet.
So their solution, partner up with Izod,
Yeah.
who were already established in America.
Makes sense.
And that's how we got Izod Lacoste.
And that's kind of where things get messy, right?
Yeah, and at first it was great. It brought Lacoste to America like they wanted. But as time went on, the Izod and Izod Lacoste, it took over.
Wow.
By the 70s and 80s, people, they were just asking for Izods. The Lacoste name, the legacy, it was almost forgotten.
It's like their identity was fading away.
It happens. It really highlights how, you got to strike a balance. Collaboration's great, but you can't lose your brand's identity in the process.
It's a cautionary tale for any business owner, really.
Absolutely.
The importance of, protecting what makes your brand yours.
Yeah.
But this is Lacoste we're talking about. They obviously figured it out.
They bounced back.
They did. So how did they reclaim their narrative?
Yeah.
And how did they reestablish themselves, as this luxury brand that we know today?
Well, it took a lot of work, that's for sure. It started in the 90s when they finally got those U.S. rights back, ending the Izod partnership for good.
Wow, that must have been a relief.
Oh, I bet. This was huge because it meant they could reintroduce themselves to America on their own terms.
Right.
No more Izod overshadowing everything.
Exactly. Yeah, they could get back to the roots.
Exactly. But it took more than just the name, to get that prestige back.
Of course. Yeah.
They needed a whole refresh. So they brought in new leadership, fresh perspectives, who could really look at the brand with a modern eye.
I like that. A fresh start.
Yeah, exactly. And they realized something crucial. To really make it in the fashion world, you got to diversify. You can't just stick to one thing.
So they didn't just stick to the classic polo.
No, they kept that sportswear heritage. That was key, but they branched out.
Like what? What else did they do?
Footwear, fragrances, leather goods, even eyewear.
Wow.
They created a whole Lacoste lifestyle, if you will. It wasn't just about the tennis court anymore. It went way beyond that. It was about reaching new people, showing them what Lacoste was all about.
Did they lose sight of their roots in the process, though?
That's the thing, they didn't. They managed to hold on to their heritage while also embracing this more, modern, global feel.
It's like that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but make it better.
Exactly. And a huge part of that was, well, they really understood visual storytelling, their ad campaigns, their brand ambassadors. It was all very intentional, elegant, aspirational, but with a nod to that classic sporty elegance that René Lacoste embodied.
Now we have Novak Djokovic.
Perfect example.
As the face of Lacoste.
Mm-hmm.
And he embodies that same, athleticism and that effortless style.
He's perfect for them, isn't he?
Yeah.
It just goes to show they know how to evolve, how to move with the times, but without losing those core values. They didn't just survive, they thrived.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
How Lacoste took, just a shirt?
Right.
And turned it into this whole symbol, this global symbol of style and, success, really.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier. They got it.
They did.
Fashion isn't just about the clothes themselves.
It's the feeling.
It's the story they tell,
Yes, exactly. And what's funny is René Lacoste, the man himself.
Right.
He was never content just, resting on his success.
No, not at all. I mean, did you know he actually designed, get this, a steel tennis racket?
A steel racket? What? When was this?
In the 1960s.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. That's so ahead of its time.
Completely groundbreaking, right? This was back when everyone was playing with wooden rackets.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And he comes in with this steel design.
That's wild. What was the thinking behind that?
It was all about performance, taking it to the next level.
Okay.
It was about control, precision. Even Jimmy Connors used one for a while.
Wow, Jimmy Connors. Jimmy Connors.
Yeah. He played with a Lacoste steel racket.
That's unbelievable. It just shows you this drive to innovate.
Always innovating.
It's woven into the DNA of the Lacoste brand, never afraid to try something new.
Never afraid to be different.
Both on and off the court, right?
Exactly. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us, whether you're building a business or just, living your life. You got to push the boundaries sometimes.
100%. Don't be afraid to be bold.
Right, exactly. Try new things, embrace progress, but always stay true to who you are, your core principles.
It's all about balance, right?
Yeah.
Heritage and innovation.
Exactly.
Honoring where you came from, but always looking forward. From a little crocodile on a blazer to this global empire. What a story.
What a story.
Lacoste shows us what happens with vision, with adaptability, and with a little bit of that relentless pursuit of being the best.
And that's the thing, isn't it?
It makes you think, what's the next Lacoste? What idea, what invention is going to come out of nowhere and change everything?
Stand out there somewhere.
The next big thing. And who knows, maybe it's closer than we think.
Maybe it's right under our noses.
It's an exciting time. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. This was a good one. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.